It's a new week, and I remember mentioning before about the potatoes that one of my staff had planted. So he had some banana trees. There's one, two, another couple up there, and then he's done potato plants with the students as well, just sort of running up and down here. And this is just out in the car park. There's something else just there. I'll have to ask him what it is, because I'm not sure. And apparently the garden bed on the other side is going really well. The kids harvested some coriander and some of the spinach today to use up in the kitchen, so it's become an excellent resource. I'll have to have a check on that again tomorrow. It's the end of the day, the winter's cold, and I'm needing. Here for the double width construction, they've just bent their reinforcement for the side trenches, put those in, got assembly, then we'll come back down and get all the Rio there, put it in place, set it on the chairs. Mesh is in, some chairs are in. I'll have to get the science teacher to give us some more chairs, and he's getting tie wire for us for tomorrow. And pour is scheduled for next week. This is the laundry area that's going to be getting renovated. There'll be a small powder room down the end where the toilet currently is. We got a plumber in to give us some quotes last weekend. You're currently sitting where the wall is for the end of this room, and behind that is the upper living area, the rumpus room type thing. Now I know that this floor is not level. Got just a small plain laser level. What I've got is my little torpedo level, and sat it on the top and moved it around in all directions, and when it wasn't level I would unlock one of the legs and just adjust it to bring it up and just keep going until that's level. This also self-levels, but it's only going to self-level within a certain range. Hopefully you saw that sort of flickered a little bit. It's self-leveling after I've sort of bumped the thing. And you see it's got a laser line. Well, you can't see that end, but it's putting a laser line that's perfectly level all the way around this room. So what I've got to do is just get a bit of chalk, go around and put a line at multiple spots around the room, so that I can then measure down from there. And I'll take a measurement here, and then if I go to the other side and measure down, as soon as I get to that same measurement, that's going to be the same height on the floor, that side as that side. And I've basically got to find where the highest point is and try and get the whole room at that level. The marks are there for when I remove the laser. I've already got 20mm from there to here. So floor heights from my level line vary between 1140 on that very corner of the room, 1180 right on that corner where the wall will meet, 1160, 1190, 1215 right down the very end. So that's a 75mm difference from here to here. That's 3 inches. It looks like this slab here was poured after the house was built to basically create the laundry area. Now that I've got that all written out, and then I'll get back out onto my retaining wall, because I can work further with this after the sun goes down. So I've come to this side of the wall, just do the foundation so that I can get this part side of the wall done. There was a giant tree root coming through here from a tree next door that was cut down, so I've just spent the last couple of hours trying to cut through it. My chainsaw blade had broken teeth. The mattock was kind of going through it, and then I ended up just getting my grinder with a biscuit cutter blade on it to grind it back far enough to allow for me to dig it out. So back to digging. Yes, they had this giant tree root in the middle of where I was needing to put a footing for the wall. This first section will basically be 3 of these concrete blocks. Then we'll step up, go a bit further. I hit another tree root there just before it got dark last night, but I got that out with a mattock. So I've got to level that out for a few, then go up. Then I just need to make sure I'm down to nice solid ground with my footing. And little peg up there next to the star picket. That's the outside corner of my wall coming down to here. So I'll see if I can get this footing finished and maybe start laying some of the blocks today, because that is my plan. Uncovering a few of these guys while I'm excavating, unfortunately. So I'm going to try and find a safe spot for them to see whether they're going to go up a tree and start coming out in spring, or whether they're going to try and dig down for a bit longer. Very alien looking. Just working on this section. I'm glad I don't particularly want to go too much deeper than this, because I just found that metal sump pipe for the old septic that was on the property. But I guess that's going to set how deep I go, and I'll start stepping up again here. I've got to get rid of this part of this rock though. Go get my cold chisel and lump hammer. I know my bottom row is going to go along there. The second row is going to be coming up and along here. And I want to work out like a bit of a depth dig down. I got a little bit worried here because of the pipe. So I've got my string. Got my string there coming from where that row should be. And Got my little string level with a bubble on it, and that bubble is level just there. And so where this string is coming here, I now need to dig a bit down below that so that I've got a concrete base for the next row of bricks or blocks. Trench is done. It steps up in a couple of places. I've got my Rio in there ready, so I'm going to start doing some concrete here and at least start the first row of my blocks if I can. Should be able to, it's only 20 past 2. And there's my outside line up to the front. So the wall is taking shape more on the corner. We've got that corner section done. First 3 blocks in this bottom section that are locked into the footing, and then I'll have to step up there. I've got some small bits of Rio locked in to the footing, and then when I start filling them with concrete, I'll put some longer bits right down the whole centre like I've got here. 10 to 5. So I've stopped. I've packed up. I've cleaned up most of the tools, the wheelbarrow, the buckets. I've cleaned out the cement mixer. I just got to bring it back around the back because it's in the front yard today. That's something I can basically move on with next weekend. There's a bit of pack up to do. I don't know, but somehow this doesn't look harvested. It looks attacked. I'm going to check with the teachers who are involved with this and see what's going on, because it actually looks like it's been chewed through. Don't know. So the Rio's done. We got a couple of different types of chairs in here, and the students have just basically tie wired all of the mesh together to hold it together in one piece, and we're ready for the pour later this week. Projects are basically, there we go, set up for marking. 7 students, 7 projects. They're pretty happy. We got the island table, his glass top, all done. The entertainment unit, the clothing rack that folds down using this pivot. The shelves lift off so she can fold it up and put it away. The big drawer unit's been done. It's still needed handles, but he's got 4 drawers, a little space underneath. The larger desk with a hutch on top. I really like the way that she got that grain, the continuous grain to happen on the drawer fronts, which is really nice. Blanket box came up really well. Nice contrast in the colours there. And the wave top, I call it a wave top table because the way that the grain flows up, and it's not showing up. The grain does flow up and over on these. Might see it better from this side. You can see that the grain sort of flows up. There we go. and then continues over because we cut them out of the sheet so it was continuous. She did a good miter joint with the dominoes and the timber on the front. Markers are arriving tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Tomorrow for me, in the past for you, because this will come out a bit later. And they'll be sitting here, they'll mark the project, they'll mark the folios. That'll be done by about 11:30 is their schedule, and then the kids can take them home after they finish paying any little incidentals that they haven't paid for. But it feels good they're finished. The kids feel great that they're finished. They should be pretty proud of them, the fact that they got finished projects. It's tough for them. It's a tough course. A lot of kids don't realise how much work goes into it, and having to design and build something and document the whole thing themselves. We get a group of kids through every year and they learn. Yep, all the projects got marked yesterday. They've got their little stickers on there saying that they've been marked, which means that the students can now take them home and get them out of my room. They won't find out their results until the very end of the year, because that's just the way that the HSC works. They've still got to do a written exam, and that is part of this. But these are 60% of their final grade, so 40% for that, 20% for the folio, and then 40% for the exam at the end of the year. So there's a bit of a relief amongst the students. Now they've just got to worry about the written exam. Got a day away from work today. I've got to go to a construction industry engagement day, which, as part of my qualification for teaching construction to the high school students and maintaining my Cert 2 for in construction, I need to basically be engaged with industry outside of school. Some of that can be done with doing my own renovation stuff, so I have to practice my skills and those sort of things at home. But they also want us to be in touch with large industry. So we have a meeting today, and there'll be teachers from the whole region. And our region is quite large. It stretches from right up in the Blue Mountains down through Western Sydney, I think down into a little bit into southwestern Sydney, and then up the Central Coast. And that's where this meeting is today. That's up at Tuggerah, which is 2 hours from home. I left home a little bit under an hour ago. I'm now on the M7. Meant to be there between 8:30 and 9 for sign-on and that sort of stuff. My GPS said I should get there about 8:40, so I'm doing well. Good days to go on. Never ideal being out of school. The day out is good. The networking with other teachers from different areas and different areas of the region is good. It's just a long drive. just arrived here. Apparently this is it, and I can see that it's got like real estate areas and that sort of stuff within it. So that might be it, but I'll get in and see where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so we've had 2 good long sessions, morning tea and a lunch. Just finished lunch. Now we're heading down to one of their construction sites at a school. They just do civil construction, no residential. Got some work happening on a school. It's about 17 minutes south from here. Get my GPS on and head down to see this site. It's raining, but they said they're still down there on site, so we're heading down to have a look, which will be good. About 3 minutes from the site, and the rain's just getting heavier and heavier. But if we're looking at civil works that are outside, there's probably not even going to be anybody doing anything because you can't work in this. And that's it. Well, we're here. Let's go to see what the go is, eh? A very enlightening experience. Really some interesting new processes that I'd never heard of before. Not that that should be too surprising. It's not that I work in construction all the time, but interesting seeing new build and upgrades on old buildings and stuff like that. It was pretty good. When I knew I was coming up here, I contacted Dan Brent because he lives just a bit north of where I was going to be. I'm on my way up to his place now, but because of where I was, the GPS has had me take the coast road up, sort of up where there's this little spit of land at a place called the Entrance. I've got lake to the left of me, and I've got the Pacific Ocean to the right of me. There's some houses in there. There's nothing on that side except for greenery and then water. I guess mangroves. But yes, going to visit Dan. In the back of the car, I've got some Angophora logs for him. When I was having a tree cut down in the front yard, he asked if he could get a crotch section, and I managed to grab the one crotch section that was in this tree because it was basically just a tall stick with one sort of big branch coming out, and it couldn't be too big but couldn't be too small, so I've got that for him and a couple of other little bits that he might be able to do something with on the lathe. I hope he likes that. I'm about 15 minutes from his house.
The slab, but it didn't really bite again, maybe good in this. That's really the only project I've worked on over the past few months has been that gate. And certainly next time I get out of the shop, that'll be what I continue to work on.
In 200 meters.
Is that big? That's awesome.
The lighting is terrible.
E12 about to do their concrete pour. Just heading over to the site. Hopefully the rain will hold off, but it's a good day for it. Okay, so that was a quick pour by the time the truck got here and set up. About a half hour. They also had a small slab done over there. So this one's going to take a little bit of time to cure. We got some of the water draining off it, but because it's so cold, this will take some time. Might set up by this afternoon. And some of my students were absent, so I'll have to come up with something else for them to do for the concreting stage of the course.